I almost clicked start streaming. Almost had a heart attack. Okay. Anyways, today we're gonna talk about logo and color palettes. And by that specifically, it's like how do you get a working palette with your logo? Or the opposite. Today I'm here with Michaela and with So Squishy. Check them out. I'll drop the links in the description, and let's just start with 2.1.
2.1, basically color palette. So we're gonna start from the top. Influence between colors. So if you can see the attached image, I'm counting on you, Bun.
Yeah, it's showing on the recording.
So as we can see, there are few squares with dots, right? So what we have here is from the leftmost to the rightmost, we have basically sorted them by the, let's say, influence of how noticeable they are.
How visible.
How visible. Alright, let's go with how visible. What basically we have at the first, the leftmost on the top square, the one of the black with yellow dot, that will be the most visible and the most noticeable too, because lighter color on darker color is more noticeable than let's say similar colors in palette, like the one on the bottom, yellow square with orange circle. So whenever you choose your colors, you want to make sure that it will be visible not only from close but from far, because if you know, some of the logos tend to be small, like for example if you have them somewhere in the corner, not too big,
yes.
Basically in corner.
Or so on a background.
Yes, so basically what you want to make sure is they are noticeable and don't blend kinda, basically they don't become blurred, in quote unquote.
Yeah, I do know that there's a bigger picture, I don't have it right now, where it's almost every color with text on each color in different colors. So it's about readability. So you should never pick a white background with yellow letters or pick a black background with gray. That most of the time it's not readable and sometimes could even hurt your eyes, like bright red and bright green on together.
Or in general any neon colors on the bright background. So the next part I chosen is color balancing. So for example, we have those two squares, one blue, one red on swivel, right? The middle one. So in this case, we are basically poking the topic of the balance. So for example, one can be lighter in color but bigger, and the other one smaller and, let's say in this case, red. So basically what we have here is that despite the difference in the size, color-wise they feel like they are balanced. And this is important whenever you're choosing some colors for, like you want to have a logo that is balanced in its look, or just you have different shapes and you want them to make the illusion that they are balanced.
Yeah. I do have to add that red is most of the times a heavier color. I think that's how I say it. When blue is more lighter and doesn't, red basically, most often is straight in your face, like shoving it in there.
That's also you also poked another thing, the meaning of colors. So we have this little those stripes of colors with words that you most of the time recognize for the color. Like for example, yellow tends to be optimistic, clarity, and warmth, right?
Yes.
Orange brings a feeling of friendliness, cheerfulness, and confidence. Red, as you mentioned, is more in your face because it's more about excitement, bold movement, or just youthful. Young, all that stuff. Purple tends to be with creative, imaginative, or wise. Creative because, let's be straight with it. On Twitch uses the most some of the purple colors because content creators.
Well, Twitch whole branding is like purple.
Exactly.
And
all about creativeness of the creators. No, and with blue, we don't tend to have some trust, dependable on or strength. Happens like that. Some sites are like this.
Very often, blue is also associated with squares, like structures.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just a funny fact I know.
Yeah. With green, peaceful growth and health. Obviously, whole nature, green, everything like this. So whenever you are like, when your whole theme is about peacefulness, or just all in general laid out, I forgot the specific word for this, but basically let's say peaceful, right? All about this. So whenever you're going for peaceful feeling, implementing green in your logo can be good. And last but not least, or well, in this case last on our list, the gray color, which actually has in itself also white or dark, because balance between them can make gray, as we know. As says, it's balanced, neutral or calm. Because, well, it's neutral color, it can be bad or good. Simple and easy.
Cool. Let's go to a logo.
Alright. Okay, so what makes a good logo? So you're gonna want to keep your logos simple, relevant, and versatile. So, like, as you can see, I'm gonna zoom in on some good examples and some bad examples, and we're gonna talk about how these are simple, relevant, and versatile, and how they're not. So you can see you got the Nike swoosh, you got the Apple logo,
Nike swoosh,
McDonald's, and Coca-Cola. These are all very simple, and you can see down here where we've got highlight, I think it is, and like word, and all these logos down here, they're very like busy and they have a lot of stuff going on. They're like not readable at all, so you're gonna want to avoid that.
Yeah, they're not specifically bad. Well, the ones you send in, like this one, those are bad, but the ones with all the animates, they're not bad per se, but you shouldn't use them on a normal picture, but only on full screen, like where it's the whole picture just by itself.
That makes sense. Yeah, down here with these, I didn't even see these down here yet.
These ones.
These over here.
Some of these are cute. I like these. Okay, so busy isn't always bad. It just depends on the usage, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
It depends on.
That's also why reactive logos exist, so they become less busy if they become smaller.
Yes, but that's one thing you have to look out for whenever we get to reactive logos. Like if you go for one of these busier style, like high detailed things, it's going to be harder for it to like go up and down and to be like transitioned into other media. So let's get through I'm gonna get through versatility, then we'll talk about reactive logos, and then basically be done with logos. Anyway, so with the Nike swoosh, McDonald's, all these up here, you can see that they're really simple, and you kind of can recognize them immediately. Granted, they're big corporations, but they don't contain any images that you wouldn't normally already know about. Like this is an apple, obviously, and these are two shapes, and these are words. So words can be really effective in your logo, as you can see with Coca-Cola, but also getting a good shape that can be differentiated amongst other shapes is also really good for recognizability.
A silhouette, you mean?
Yeah, a silhouette is good. Is a good term for that. Yeah. And so your versatility kind of combines your simplicity and your relevance together, and how well your logo can be used in different places. So down here you can see with the Aztecs, and highlight and all these kind of weird looking logos. They're not really recognizable, and they're not really relevant to your day to day, so you're not really going to remember what's going on with this. You'd much rather remember these shapes up here with like the Apple logo and Coca-Cola, because they're easy to read and they're original, they're different and recognizable. And then let's move on really fast to reactive logos. So one thing that's really important about your logo, and you can see down here with Social Electric, is that you make it, or if you have it commissioned, if you don't make it yourself, that you have it made as a vector image versus a raster image. And if you're not super fluent with image software or anything like that, you might not know what those terms are, but it has to do with the pixels. So what you're going to want is a vector image where you don't have a pixel image, basically. Like normally people think of screens and everything being pixels. Well, vectors aren't really like that. And what's special about vectors is because since they aren't pixels, they can be sized up and down infinitely, and they'll retain their shape. Where a raster image, if you zoom in too far, like if you zoom in on highlight over here, these bad logos, they start to break up in the pixels, and you don't want that. So a good logo should be reactive, or at least be able to transition into a reactive logo. That way you can size it up infinitely and size it down infinitely.
Reactive logo doesn't mean the ability to size it up without losing quality. It's like the two logos at the very bottom, where the logo 1 is just the light bulb and the logo 2 is just the name without marketing electrified name under, without the slogan, basically. Like I have my logo with both the background, the raspberry, and with my name, but I have 2 other versions with just the background and the raspberry, and also the raspberry on its own. That way I can use the raspberry for example, my channel points or for my own website, and the entire logo I can use on my streams.
Nice.
That's cute. I like that.
Basically keeping it simple, part of the logo is implemented in the whole name, and whenever, even if the whole name of the channel, let's say, is not there, but the part of the logo is from that name, you will recognize that.
For example, Nike, you don't need the name to be logo.
Exactly.
Let's go to key elements, and key elements most of the time mean a specific item that would represent you or your brand. And it differentiates a lot. It also depends on how you want the item to look. For example, we have been focusing on apples, for examples, but you can have an apple, for example, with a worm on it, but you can also have like half an apple. And even how those are drawn could change. Key elements are a good way to have a recognizable brand and make overlays like matchy-matchy with each other, so they would all be within your branding. The style really depends on what you want. If you want a cartoony style logo or key elements, you have to go, it will be more childlike or like fantasy, imagination, or sometimes even more casual. Where if you would do realism, where it would look like an actual apple, it would be higher standards, because of course you want it to look real. Most of the time it's more serious and down to earth. A fun thing to do with key elements is incorporate it into your VTuber model if you use it, because that way you don't need to, of course, but if you can or want to, it will be a good way to also be recognizable. Like, oh yeah, no, they used a raspberry in their logo, so their VTuber also has a raspberry, so those two go together. The next part is incorporation into your overlays. This is a high recommendation from me, because you might have a beautiful Apple logo, and then you're gonna take science fiction type overlays. Like, at least have like the same coloring or somehow the same style. Even if your logo is science fiction style, basically, or modern, then try to make your overlays modern as well. Same for channel points and panels. That's just for Twitch, whereas for YouTube it would be like thumbnails, for example. Or with transitions in between scenes. That's an OBS term. If you want to learn more about transitions, there will be a lesson soon too. But that's just one way to have the branding feel more complete. To have your logo, your model, optional, and your overlays all, match. It will also make it more clear for the viewer to recognize you. That's all I have. For homework, I have an idea. If you go to the website, set there, coolers.co, it's like it's a color palette generator where if you hit space, it will create a new palette basically. And the thing I want you to do is either make the ugliest color palette or the prettiest one you've ever seen. By ugliest, I mean like get colors that do not match at all. Get a bright green, get neon red, get a dark gray, and then, I don't know, yellow or something, like a weird ochre color, Send it to me, I want to see it.
Don't send them to me.
Don't send them to me.
Send me the pretty ones and send Bon the ugly ones.
Oh.
For the tip, if you make a logo, focus on the silhouette more than on what's in the logo. By that I mean keep it simple, and if you have text, keep it readable. Don't have a big picture of a flower as your logo and then like an entire essay as a slogan. Then get rid of the slogan, then just keep the flower. Basically.
Or like tiny words around your logo, or like little arrows pointing at your logo. Like if those things, like if they're not like specifically incorporated into your logo, they'll get lost. The other tip is, if you made a logo, just take the logo onto your computer and go stand across the room and just see if you can still see it. If you don't, just get rid of it.
In this case, also remember the thing that I said about the whole color.
Yeah.
When there is lighter and on the lighter, or just in general, like orange on green.
Yeah. I think to see if that would work is either invert the colors to see if you still like it, and otherwise blur it to see if the colors would blend nicely. I think that would help pretty good.
Yeah.
Like just slightly add a Gaussian blur or a line blur just to see how it would look.
And as long as it's recognizable, then you're good to go.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
I expected that this would be like a 15-minute lesson or like a 30-minute lesson, and here we are at 18 minutes.
We did it. Should we do some do's and don'ts?
Yeah.
Okay. So, a do for logos. Do keep it simple. Don't clutter it up. That's what I'm gonna say for logos.
That's the exact same tip.
Okay, let me do a different tip. Ooh. For logos, and this is also gonna kind of connect to color. Choose a dominant color. Like, choose a dominant color.
Yeah.
Don't choose 100 different colors.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind.
And to add to that, do choose colors that can stand out on the other colors, like darken on lighter, and don't choose lighter color on lighter color. So like yellow on white.
Even if I have to pick either between yellow on white or a dark purple on black, I would probably still pick dark purple on black. So just stay away from just a white background and then adding a yellow logo.
Oh yeah, also, whenever you're doing the logo, don't do the light background because you want the symbol of the logo to be recognized. So what you want to do is basically bring all the attention to the middle of the logo.
Yeah, to the outline of the logo.
Outline or the middle, It depends whoever makes the logo.
Yeah.
Ooh, I got another one.
What's up?
Do your research. Like, don't pick a logo that doesn't match your branding. So we kind of started talking about branding now. This is lesson 2. So like, think about that whenever you pick your logo. Don't, like, if you're centered around like books in your library, don't have a fishing pole as your logo. You know, like keep
Fishing
everything
pole.
related.
Yeah.
You know?
Also, if you get a
Unless
logo,
you're fishing for knowledge.
yeah, then it would be a fishing book, I guess. But
yeah.
But
There
okay.
you go. You can connect them.
Yeah, but it also has to I would say, is make it something that you like. If you really like cottage core, don't get a cyberpunk logo. Like you know, even if you pay for it, you know you're not gonna like it. You're probably gonna use it less as well. Despite, it's your logo. If it's your logo and you love it, spam it everywhere. Shove it down people's throats. Be like, here, look, I have a logo. I have a branding.
Yeah.
So far, are there any questions from the audience?
Yes, the audience.
The audience. The millions of people listening right now. I will take the silence as a no. So I'll be ending my recording.
Alright.
If you enjoyed today's video, please don't forget to subscribe and like the video. It really helps me out and gives me enough motivation to continue the videos. Also, if you made it this far, comment baguette in the comment section. I dare you. Alright, love you. Bye.